we're going to look inside the NFC East and kind of get inside the minds of Dallas, New York, Washington, Philly, obviously, here on the Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN, and the free mobile app. And Jeff, of course, CBS Sports NFL writer. He'll be on all week here as we kind of try to do. We'll have the draft coverage today, tomorrow, Thursday, recap on Friday, try to get it all out here for you here on the Sports Bash. All right, Jeff, welcome back, man.
Hey, Mike, how's it going?
Oh, man. All right. We got 2 days left of this, but let's kind of jump inside the NFC East. It's very interesting here because I did a show in Dallas today, and I was talking about how, and they agreed, like Dallas, New York, Philly, boom, boom, boom. This could really be one of the storylines of this draft. Those three trying to jockey around each other. So let's start with Dallas at 10. If nothing happens and 10, they stay, Patrick Surtain, their pick, right? Or do they go J.C. Horn, or they really buck the system and go with another skill player?
I'll tell you what, if I'm Dallas, this is what I'm doing. If Patrick Surtain is there, I think I take him no matter what. I mean, now Dallas might need a linebacker after Sean Lee decided, hey, you know what? I'm not going to play football anymore because you don't know about the health of Leighton Vander Esch. You don't know what they got in Jalen Smith right now. So Micah Parsons could be an option for them. But honestly, they need a cornerback more than anything. I think Patrick Surtain, at least in my opinion, is going to be the best cornerback in this draft class. That's not a knock against J.C. Horn. J.C. Horn might have more potential there, but I just don't see them picking J.C. Horn at 10 when you got Patrick Surtain, if he's there, sitting on the board. Now, if Kyle Pitts is there, they're going to have a huge, huge, huge dilemma because Jerry is in love with Kyle Pitts, as we all know, and I have a feeling Jerry would take him if he was there at 10. Maybe that's why the Eagles would want to jump up ahead of them, but Patrick Surtain will be their pick.
So you mentioned it. Would Micah Parsons be in play? You know, you mentioned that the linebacking, Lee Vander Esch has the neck issue. I think Smith hasn't been as impactful as they hoped when they got him a couple of years ago. You know, they got him in the second round because of the injury. So would Parsons be in play for them?
You know, that's the thing. And this is what I got to look at when you look at the Cowboys here. What player can make the biggest impact on their roster? And if you're looking – how can I say this hypothetically here? If you're looking at the biggest impact for your defense, it's Micah Parsons. He can rush the passer. He's better in coverage than most people say he is. He's pretty much the do-it-all for you, Dolly. So if you want to get a player that's going to make that instant impact right away for them, you have to at least consider Micah Parsons. Now, here's the thing. If Denver doesn't take him at 9, that's where it gets interesting because I think the Cowboys might have to pick the best defensive player in this draft. They may pick the first defensive player in this draft. We've never had a draft where we've had 7 straight offensive or defensive players taken to start the draft. We might go 9 this year because of the quarterback. So yeah, I think this draft falls into Dallas's hands, even if the Eagles or Giants or anybody else would jump them.
Yeah, 1999, Tim Couch, you tweeted this out earlier, by the way, so hat tip to Jeff Kerr at Jeff Kerr CBS. Couch, McNabb, Achilles Smith. Now, this is back when running backs were in vogue. Edger and James, Ricky Williams, Torrey Holt. Who was the first defensive player drafted in that draft? Do you remember?
Champ Bailey. That's the Hall of Fame.
Say it again?
It was Champ Bailey.
Champ Bailey. Okay, you broke up a little bit there. Champ Bailey, right.
Yeah.
So, number 7, you're saying in this draft, it could be number 10, the first defensive player pick.
It could be. If you look at the quarterbacks, I mean, let's think about it, Mike. So we know the top 3 are going to be quarterbacks. Kyle Pitts is going to get selected somewhere in there, right? Penei Sewell, Jamar Chase. So that's 6. And we're not even taking into account Mac Jones, Trey Lance. There's 8. So we got to start thinking here, all right, you know, when is the first defensive player going to get taken? Is it going to be Micah Parsons? Is it going to be Patrick Surtain? Is it going to be J.C. Horn? Is it going to be I can never say his name.
Kwity Paye.
Paye from Michigan. I can never say his name. I better get used to it because that's probably who the Eagles are going to draft.
Right.
So, at least that's what we're hearing anyway. So, again, this is going to be a very interesting draft of who gets taken where. And again, I think we're going to see 2 things in this draft. I think we're going to see quarterbacks go, and I think we're going to see offensive linemen go because a lot of these teams that have franchise quarterbacks do not have franchise offensive tackle.
Offensive line play in this league is so bad. I agree with that. All right. So Dallas, we feel corner, possible Micah Parsons linebacker, or they get giddy and take a skill position player. Right?
I think it all depends who's there, honestly. I really do. I think the Cowboys will have their picking of Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle, but here's the issue there. They don't need them. They have 3 receivers.
Yeah, they took C.D. Lamb last year.
Yeah, exactly. They took C.D. Lamb, so they're out. So if you're the Eagles, you're not even worried about that. Now, Kyle Pitts, yes, they do need a tight end. I personally, they could go offensive line too. You never know because their offensive line, as good as it was a couple years ago, a lot of those guys are beat up. So I'm starting to think to myself, maybe they take a chance on the Rashad Slater. Who knows? But I just think it's so hard for them to just ignore the defense right now. Again, I think it's going to be Surtain no matter what. It just seems like a perfect match for them. Patrick Surtain, the second, and the Dallas Cowboys. I almost said junior there, but he's not a junior.
All right, Jeff Kerr, CBS Sports. We're looking at the NFC East. Number 11, the New York Giants. A lot of interesting ways they can go here. You might say the biggest problem they have is at quarterback. At 11. What's that?
Did they take one?
I was going to say, what's in play for them, and is quarterback in play if one's there at 11?
Well, I know one thing the Giants won't do, and I'll be shocked if they would do it because Dave Gettleman has never done this, traded down. He does not believe in trading down. So I don't think that'll happen. I think there are plenty of options available. I think they're going to try to load up that offense as much as they can, as much as they can, let me mind you, for Daniel Jones because they want to see if this guy is actually a thing. Just like how I thought the Jacksonville Jaguars were going to do the same thing for Gardner Minshew last year to see if he was a thing, and they passed on Jerry Jeudy. They passed on those guys. So what I think is going to happen is Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle's on the board. I think they might end up taking one of them. But again, if Micah Parsons is there at 11, perfect fit, Patrick Graham's scheme, I think ultimately they would take the best defensive player. I think this is where we start seeing the run of defensive players because Surtain's going to be off the board and the Giants are going to be like, whoa, we have a chance to get Micah Parsons here. So I think they do go get Micah Parsons. But if not, I do see them getting a receiver, probably Devonta Smith or Jalen Waddle. I'll go Devonta Smith. I think that's who they go with.
You don't think they would be in the defensive game if Micah Parsons fell there or even in the J.C. Horn game?
Well, if Micah Parsons is there, they take him. If he's not there, say Denver takes him at 9, or they, whoever trades up or down, I say they'll go offense. But Michael Parsons is there. That's the pick.
And like offensive line, for me, I think offensive line has to be their top priority. I mean, you're going to get Saquon Barkley back. Their receivers, they don't have like that A+ number 1 like they don't have Odell Beckham anymore. But Slayton's, pretty good. He's way out.
He's good too. They have good receivers there. And Evan Ingram, I know he made the Pro Bowl last year. I mock it because he's not really that good of a tight end, but he's better than most tight ends in this league. I would say he's a top 15 tight end.
Very athletic, but their offensive line has been a huge issue for them. I mean, they went and got Hernandez a couple of years ago at guard, nice player there, but their tackles are still, less than adequate.
Yeah, that's the problem too. The Giants just can't develop offensive linemen. So Rashad Slater could be a very intriguing prospect for them. One, who knows what they have in Andrew Thomas. I thought he was a really good pick for them last year, and he just didn't develop the way they should. He got better towards the second half of the year. But again, who was the right tackle they have there? It's not trying to think of the guy's name. The third-round pick. Losing my train of thought of the Giants offensive lineman, but he was actually better than Andrew Thomas last year. So they could go there. Rashad Slater could obviously play guard. Christian Darrisaw, who my colleague Chris Passo likes. God, I'm losing my train of thought.
Nate Soldier, by the way, they got coming back, right?
Yeah, they do have him coming back too. So that's the thing with the Giants. They could beef up on the offensive line again. That'd be fine if David Gettleman goes that route. But I don't know.
You mentioned it. They took Thomas with the 4th pick last year, right? He was the 4th.
Yeah, and a lot of people thought they reached. I thought that was the best pick. I really liked Andrew Thomas coming out of college. I still think he has a lot of potential, but he just struggled in the first half of last year. Got a little bit better as the second half went on. And again, maybe that was because there was no OTAs. There was no really a variant of training camp and no preseason. So I think he'll be a lot better. But again, if Rashad Slater's there, it's very tempting, especially since he can slide in the guard. He's a day 1 guard.
Well, right, because you have Andrew Thomas coming back as a first-round pick, number 4 overall, and then Nate Solder, who opted out because of COVID last year. So you're going to have your 2 tackles coming back. Now you have Will Hernandez. If you get Rashawn Slater, you could play him at that right guard spot, and then if Thomas is a bust, you can move him over to tackle.
Well, that's the other thing too. Yeah, and same with Will Hernandez. Like, he can play right guard. He doesn't have to play left guard. He's a better fit at left guard. But yeah, they're going to have options here with these guys. So again, if the Giants really want to win, if they really want to protect Daniel Jones, they probably go draft an offensive lineman. So you draft a Rashad, so you're going to have Christian Darrisaw available. You're going to have these 2 available for you at number 11. Who knows how this draft board plays out? Maybe Penei Sewell is available for. I doubt it, though. I don't think he goes past the Dolphins. After what I heard today and what the Dolphins did with Eric Flowers, it would not surprise me at all if they drafted Penei Sewell, especially if Jamar Chase is in there at 6.
All right, let's go to the football team at 19. They made a trade today, Eric Flowers to Washington. He's been a big bust. I can't imagine that they're trying to say, hey, he's a guy. I mean, they get him and a pick for from the Dolphins. They exchange like 6-round picks, it looks like, to get Eric Flowers. I mean, I can't understand how this guy still has a job. But the football team is very interesting because they got Fitzpatrick. They need a quarterback for the long term, but Fitzpatrick, I would imagine they're okay with right now. Their defense is beef, so they don't really need maybe a corner on the defensive side of the ball, but what direction do they really need? I mean, their line they have a pretty decent line. They need skill.
They do. And look, they have Terry McLaurin, but that's about it. They really don't have much there. I think
Reed retired.
Yeah, you're right. And I think Washington is one of those teams where if a receiver falls to them, again, I don't think one of the big 3 will, but they're going to have their pickings of a Terrence Marshall, of Rashad Bateman, Kadarius Toney, and that might be a little too high for him. They could trade back, but they need a quarterback too. Ryan Fitzpatrick's not their long-term answer. He's a 1-year answer. They don't have anybody. So maybe if one of these quarterbacks falls to, say, 12, I don't think he'll trade the Eagles, but 13, 14, I think Washington makes a move up there. Right now, like you said, Mike, their offensive line isn't terrible. Eric Flowers is going to compete for that left guard job, and he actually played his best when he was in Washington as a guard. So they need a guard because they have Brandon Sharif. They have Morgan Moses still there. They did miss not having Trent Williams last year, but again, they haven't had Trent Williams in a couple years, if you really want to look at the gist of it. So, yeah, maybe they go after a guard/tackle, like maybe Darrisaw falls right to them. But I could see them being the team that trades up if one of these quarterbacks slips past 10. Because here's the only issue with them, though. 10's Dallas, 11's the Giants, 12's the Eagles. Who's going to help them? Which one of those 3 teams are actually going to help Washington play them? Say it's Mac Jones, Trey Lance. You really going to let play you this year? I think so.
Should be interesting. There's a look at the NFC East. Jeff will be back tomorrow. We'll do more on the draft. And, of course, Thursday, Friday will be draft day, and then we'll recap it all. We're going to be doing more football stuff in the offseason, so look out for more info from us at Jeff Kerr CBS on Twitter. Covers the league nationally with a little local spin here with the Eagles, the NFC East. We're going to do a lot more NFC East-focused stuff throughout the offseason and in-season as well with Jeff here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN. And don't forget, download the free mobile app or watch the show live. There he is, Jeff Kerr, CBS Sports. See you, man.
See you, Mike. Thanks for having me on.